Welcome back, Mr. Olumuyiwa. Agunbiade joins us now. He is a member of the PDP. Thank you for coming on this morning.
Thank you for having me.
Well, the deadline for the collection of PVCs ended yesterday, as INEC did say, unless they come up with a fresh announcement of maybe where or which states can continue that exercise. But across the country, 81.98% distribution is what was achieved. What's your impression of this? Are you satisfied with it?
I think it's fair. I think, first of all, for us to expect 100% collection is just, that's more of a dream than anything else. But 81%, I think it's fair. I think we can run an election with that. The results of that would be representative of the people's wish. If 81% are voting, then that accounts for a substantial percentage of the registered voters that will be voting. The results from that is substantial enough to be representative of the will of the people.
So where would you rank our preparations for these elections?
On a scale of 100%, 65.
Why 65?
There are quite a lot of issues, but in as much as INEC is trying to improve on the credibility of elections, we're bound to have challenges, and they're trying new things. They're trying voters card, permanent voters card, they're trying card reader machines and all that. That surely comes with its own teething problems. But we're a young democracy, we're growing, but the important thing is they're trying to get to perfection, and that's the important thing. And as Nigerians, we must encourage them.
So why 65? Because the effort, they put it in the effort.
And the reason is this, 65% because first, certain things they were supposed to have done prior to February 14 were not done, okay? And so that extension gave them additional time to be able to do it. And so if they weren't able to do it before February 14, and now they're putting things in place, test running, card readers and all the rest of it, you won't call that 100%. You won't score them high on that scope. All you would say is, yes, they're making an effort to do what they're supposed to have done.
About February 14 and March 28, that window, they've done a lot.
They've done a hell of a lot, yes.
So shouldn't they have improved from 65 to...
Well, if you want me to add another 10%, yes.
No, it's up to you to add.
No, but all I'm just trying to say is this, that first of all, putting the whole thing together, issuance of PVC, test running equipment and all the rest of it, all the arrangements, would you say that's a ready to serve organization as at February 14? The answer is no. So based on that, now if you now have a 6-week window in which they've tried to muscle in this, muscle in that, then you can give them a pass mark to say yes, all the effort, because in Nigeria, things don't always appear the way you plan it, okay, because of certain peculiarities here, okay. So for that reason, if I score them 70%, I think they've done very well.
What's your impression of the perceived, or let's say first, preparations by security agencies and their perceived bias by some others?
There are security challenges on both sides. I heard you talk to Mr. Ibukwe about the preparations and security, and he was going on about, on both sides, people have signed peace pacts and all the rest of it. But the question is, can these leaders be held responsible for the actions of touts on the street? Because these things are not planned. These things are on the spot. As of yesterday, in my own senatorial district, our own senatorial candidate was patrolling, was going around doing his own last-minute preparations. It was sort of a campaign, house to house, and they started throwing stones at him. They were hurling stones at him. As we were hurling stones to the crowd, of course, naturally, they would respond. As they responded, I wasn't there, but I heard it turned out violent. gunshots, and others. Where from, I don't know. But all I'm saying is that wasn't engineered by anybody. That wasn't engineered by any leader. It was just this built-up aggression that political parties are fanning amongst the populace, especially down the ladder. Okay, and so when they see opposition as a do-or-die thing, they see politics as if we don't win, nothing's going to happen.
But do political party leaders really tell their supporters behind closed doors, listen, look, don't go out there and just do what will be very bad? Because in front of the camera, they could say all sorts, appeal to the people, but what about behind the scenes?
They do. Because it's not in their interest. In the PDP, it's not in their interest. We want elections to hold. We don't want elections scuttled. We lose when elections are scuttled. We want as many people to participate as possible. So it's for us to encourage. Once violence is the problem, it's a deterrent. And so that's an issue we still have to solve. We're not happy with it.
I wonder how it works if, in a closet, if you were to speak to your party members and you to say to them, no violence, don't haul stones or materials at your opponent. It is issues that we're looking at for this particular election. How come they don't listen to their parties? Because we're saying if they do listen, because Mr. Egboko will say the same thing, that they speak to their party members. Now you just said you also speak to your party members, and it's not in the interest of the PDP to be violent in this particular election. Then who are those who foment trouble when they go out?
Who are those? Put it this way. Political parties have played politics using thuggery. It's been with us forever, and it's still with us. It's not as much as it used to be, but at least it's still there. Thugs are there as bodyguards, as all sorts of things. And those are the people, okay, that needs to be controlled. Those are the people that are down the high street that needs to be spoken to. You do speak to them, okay? That, you know, it's just how it's going to be handled. Honestly, I don't know. Because for us, take Lagos. By the time President Jonathan wins, which he will, in the next 2 weeks, and then in Lagos, we're going to take the jewel. You can imagine what the opposition is going to come to us with. Bricks and bats and all sorts of things. Because for them, okay, Lagos represents the jewel in the APC pack. Remove Lagos, and it all falls down to bits.
Why do you think you're going to win now? Did you think you were going to win before the elections were scheduled also?
You don't go into any exam thinking you're going to fail. You go into an exam, knowing fully well you're going to pass.
But you know, sometimes if you're not properly prepared for exams,
that's why preparation now becomes the issue. First, you think positive about results. If you think you're going to fail, then you probably will fail. But if you think you're going to pass, then you know you need to do X, Y, Z for you to make that happen.
Let's look at the areas of thuggery, thugs that have always featured in our political history. And definitely, I don't think any thug who's not been, given money or any form of incentive would be so happy and satisfied to go all out to fight for anyone. Have we stopped the culture of recruiting thugs before, during, and even after elections?
Well, it's still happening. It's still happening. Lagos, I know, it's a big issue in Lagos. Go to any motor park, go to Alimosho, go to Ujuelegba, go anywhere. National Union of Road Transport Workers. Go there. It's public knowledge. I'm not saying this because it's politics, but I'm telling you because it's a fact. Go and ask other people. They'll tell you. Okay? Because they are financed. Okay? The leadership is financed, the leadership is patronized, okay, by political parties, by their kingpins, and they're known. It's not something that's been hidden. It's not, and that's why you have rivalry amongst these groups. And when they go out fighting, they kill. Go and find out.
And if they do kill, Sir Chamberlain, I'm getting somewhere. We're trying to look at those we should hold responsible. And if we can, even if we get the thugs, don't you think that those who are the masterminds of such should also be held to account now, politicians?
The problem is we celebrate sacred cows in this country. I think even when you don't nip things in the bud, when they occur, okay, and you leave the kingpins and you hawk the small boys into jail, after 48 hours you let them go and the matter dies down. Then you encourage them to do it again. And that's been happening in this country for too many times. I may be wrong, but I'm still looking for evidence. I have been in Kaduna for 32 years now. All my kids, my family, everybody was raised in Kaduna. I have witnessed 7 major riots. I'm still to see one person who's in jail because of any of these riots. Where are they? People were killed, people were maimed, houses were burned, churches were burned. Who are the people?
And it's the same question we were asking Mr. Igbokwe. If he's saying that he was able to recognize some of those who unleashed mayhem on some properties in Lagos a week ago, and they complained to the police. I'm sure you watched him before you came into the studio. He said, well, the police were asking him more or less like a rhetorical question. Oh, did they do that? Wow. And it ends there. So we should stop and move forward. In moving forward, are we saying the institutions that should help the country have failed us?
To a large extent, I would say yes and no. Why? First of all, do the police have the capacity? Do the police have the capacity? There's so many things wrong, too many things wrong. And until you start having governments that can actually be bold enough to take the right decisions, then we're still going to be going into this type of...
What kind of capacity are we talking about here? Now, I want us to look at that so that we can
numbers.
Really sort this out. Because if it's an individual who is just there, maybe a vulcanizer or somewhere on your street, he can be picked up, and you see justice so fast being handed down. Why is it that when it's a case such as election violence, that speed is...
there's certain things...
is wanting.
I have noticed over a long period of time, and I've always said to my friends, these are things that are not supposed to be. When I mentioned capacity, first in terms of numbers, mental attitude, the reasons why they are policemen in the first place, okay? Now, and so when you have an organization that for many, many years have been like that, for example, I think Nigeria is the only country, I may be wrong, that police is a business.
How do you mean?
The police rent out shops. The police have a bank. The police have, that's business. In England, do you have police running businesses?
Well, I don't know.
No, what I'm trying to say is this.
Yes.
It is a business. Once you start to incorporate commercial life into an organization such as the police, then it's obviously corrupt.